Today I'll be talking about Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. Sometimes I'll say Navigators of the Mystic Sea Tarot, but really it's Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. I've had this pack for only a couple years. US Game Systems, and it is a 78 card tarot deck. And I believe it's either out of print and come back, or it's going out of print. I have seen some crazy prices for this deck. It is a wonderful deck. It is one of my favorite decks. I really like this. And this one is printed in Switzerland, as a lot of the A.G. Mueller and US Games cards are. And the box is a typical box. There is a book written. The author is Julia Turk, and which I found was odd was nowhere in this deck does it have her name. It's not in the little booklet. But Julia Turk, she was the one who created this. And it is, if you just eyeing at it, you see the Kabbalah tree of life right there. And it is based... It's a sort of a Golden Dawn deck, but I think it's very modern and fresh, and the colors are very dreamlike and really interesting. But I'll talk about that. So it comes with a card with a poem on it, the Navigator, Navigators of the Mystic Sea, and it's a little poem there that is unusual for a deck of cards to come with a poem. And then we have, just the brand card, And I usually keep those with my deck just to have them. And then a typical little book, which talks about each one of the cards and different spreads that you could use, and a bit about the tarot itself. Nothing very profound. And one thing, each card, this is unusual, each card has its own sort of theme, which some people may like, some people may not like. I think it's, well, it can help you and help the other person if you're reading the tarot. It will help you sort of show that you know what you're talking about. But this deck it does take some time to get used to. If you try to do a reversal card, obviously the back, you can tell if it's reversed, which I kind of don't like. So let's go through the deck and see what is remarkable and beautiful about it. This one is the Page of Wands. Now, notice the color. This wands and fire, it's there. But there's strange things. There's little creatures typically throughout. There's an armadillo curled up, and the very dreamlike quality of this is really interesting. You have these geysers, and I think it's a very surreal deck. There's no other word. Surreal is a very good word for this deck, and dreams have a tendency to be very surreal, and this deck does that. So, Page of Wands, equivocation. The Lovers, discrimination. It's a very oversimplification of a major Arcana card, but look at that. There's some sort of, it looks like a jellyfish, and then a turtle, and then there's the Gemini symbol. There's a observatory there. There's a lot to look at in these cards, and like this one. This is the Magian card, which is the Magician. And it's very odd. I mean, it has, there's a nautilus shell, there's a person beating on a drum, a stingray, some type of circus act going on, a detached head, a fox. Really interesting encapsulation. So the way the attributes ascribed to these cards, it can be a little oversimplified, or just maybe not what you're used to. King of Swords. It's a very feminine looking king. Page of Pentacles. There's a pig in this one. So each one has sort of, there's different ones. This is art. So these cards, the major arcana does not represent the typical Rider-Waite-Smith, but there are 22 major arcana. I mean, this one, there's a cat, a dog, a cat, a pony, really odd stuff. There's even some forceps or eyelash curler. I don't know. This one's a simple card. I don't see an animal. No, I don't see an animal there. Page of Swords. There's like a crane. But notice that a lot of primary colors are used. There's the sun. This one has a lizard. It has a gazelle. It has a bird coming in. There's even a pansy there. There's quite a bit going on, and I think a lot of these designs they're very artsy, very artistic. This one, there's fruit on the table, and the one thing about this deck you may notice is the people are all different colors. So I kind of like that. They're almost alien looking. There's severed hands. A bird, a crow, maybe. The Universe card, which I believe replaces the World. And this deck has been, I've used this for readings, and I like it. It's not bad. Three of Swords. And the garments the people wearing the cards are, they're very imaginative, very strange. There's a crab in this one, and some seal, a walrus over there, and then some sort of fish things. Five of Pentacles. And notice the suite is typical. The suits. So there's the Pentacles, the Wands, the Swords, and the Pentacles, Swords, Wands, and the Cups, which are, we'll get to them and you'll see, Nine of Wands, Ten of Wands, Eight of Pentacles, Death. There's a sunflower. There's some starfish. There's a scorpion. There's some figures back here. There's this one. There's usually there's a shark. The major arcana usually have a lot going on. Six of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Wands. Two of Cups. Each card does have the artist's signature on them. Looks like these were done in 1990. And T. So it's very hard to make out, but it's a combined symbol that's used there. And it's consistent on each card. Seven of Wands. Three of Wands. A lot of the symbolism reminds me almost of alchemy. Some of the symbols that you see, but they're very simplified. Like these swords, some of these are just jagged points of color. Maybe not traditional swords. This one is a cloud and mushrooms are coming out, and there's I'm not sure what that is. Some of the things in the cards, it's hard to make them out. It's almost like Dali or Bosch paintings. It's inventive, and it's fresh to let yourself kind of go and create like that, almost on a subconscious level. the Moon, King of Cups. This card is probably one of my favorites. It's obvious that it looks like a computer. It's an oversimplified computer with books and a chair, and this is probably the most modern card. It's almost like the person's doing research and printing like this black sheath of paper, and there's like this pulsing light in the background, almost like a pounding headache. But it says foundation, so you know, putting hard work into something pays off, laying the groundwork for that. But you can see, you know, someone typing, and I love this card. It's probably my favorite in the deck. It's simple, and as a librarian, I do like books, and I think it's really interesting. There's some blue people, almost like flying saucers flying in the sky. The Ace of Cups. There's an owl, some lizards, a swan in the back. So I said that most cards tend to have animals, but it looks like it may be 50-50. There's a warship in the back, very modern. There's a Viking ship, and then it's interesting the timeline going there. And this is concurrence. Four of Swords, recuperation. The person doesn't look very ill though, but it looks like they both had swords at some point, and one may be injured. The Tower. An interesting card. It's very hard to make out a tower, but you can make out, it's almost like a path. You see sorrow, despair. There's a crown. You see a boar, a lamb running away. There's a vulture. Looks like a stake in the ground. The person's chained to it. Almost like the traditional devil card. This is a very colorful card with a lot going on. This is the Emperor. Notice there's a rooster with a key in his mouth, a cheetah, a horse, and there's some other things I'm not sure. There's a boomerang. Looks like a fountain of blood. There's a lot going on there. The Archpriestess, instead of the Papess or the one of the similar cards. Sitting on a camel. There's peacock feather eyes in the back, some swallows, a puppet, a dog's head, fetuses in a sack, and then there are ships again, a Viking ship all the way to modern naval ships in the back and the bottom. Queen of Cups. We have some dolphins, some crab pincers. Interesting, the moon reflected and reflecting back. Two of Wands. Queen of Swords, a dog jumping over a gap. It's like a falcon or some bird. This is very sort of retro 1960s vibe with this card. Five of Wands. Fortune. Instead of Wheel of Fortune, it's just Fortune, and there's the wheel. Rainbow. Satellite dishes. A dead dinosaur. Two dead dinosaurs, or dinosaurs dying. Money. An inchworm, maybe. A butterfly. It's an interesting card. So the dreamlike quality is, not only is it timeless, but it also has a modern edge to it, and I like that. King of Wands. The Nine of Cups. Satiety. Person's been drinking, has been passed out. The Empress. A very colorful card. You have a Luna moth, a swan, a hippo, orchids, a deer, reindeer. The swan has been pierced and is bleeding in the water. A lot of stuff going on. Six of Swords. There's some type of bird, creature there. This almost looks like Mercury. The chariot, 2 horses. There's a hidden figure in the inside of the chariot. There's like a dragon in the background. And I've never seen the dragon before. It's new. No, that's a bat. It's a bat. Thought it was a dragon. No dragons in this deck. There's a mirror. The devil card. And there's quite a bit going on here. There's a donkey, a cat, another bat, a stomach, a goat, someone, a Pan playing the flute, someone looks like Pan, spider web, an interesting card. The Hierophant. There's 2 anamorphic bears. Really, there's an acrobat on a bull, which is very Minoan. You know, the Minoans they had a bull flipping contest where they would flip over a bull. Interesting card. The dancer in the back. I love the pattern here. This reminds me of the Magnus card in the Crowley Thoth deck. The Aeon, which is another that is very Golden Dawn, very Thoth deck. And it looks like contemplation. There's a flamingo, an apple or a peach in a cage, a kangaroo mouse, a lizard, a panther, headless people. There's a lot going on there. 10 of Cups. There's a willow tree in the background and suspension. I believe this is supposed to be the Hanged Man. Well, person's hanging by 1 foot. The leg isn't crossed over like it typically is, and you have some seahorses. It's a duck, but I'm not sure what it is. It's a frigate bird, I believe. A dragonfly. A cricket. Another frigate bird here. They're the ones that dive down under the water. There's a lot going on. I keep saying that, but there is a lot going on. Like someone's throwing a discus. This looks very Minoan, the face. Strength. We have the lion, but we also have a wolf here. We have a a snake, 2 snakes. People with holes in them. This crowd in the back that's sort of shadowy. Uh-oh, got a reversal. Knight of Swords. Well, the 9 of Swords. There's a frog. The frog's wondering what's wrong. What's wrong? Queen of Pentacles. You have 2 monkeys there, and she's sort of playing with this ball and a pentacle. 4 of Pentacles. The 6 of Cups. This is almost a very homoerotic card. These characters, some of them have breasts, but a lot of them are flat-chested, so the gender is up to you, which is nice. Looks like they're at home and someone broke in there or something, and I love how simplified the furniture is. All the furniture that's depicted in here is very simplified. The Hermit. There is a small city depicted there. A fountain. Man is in blue. He has like a bikini on. So you can tell the gender of these. Maybe, maybe not. He has a beard. And there's a bird there. The Star. Another, these major arcana are very complicated. We have a coelacanth. One of those fish that they thought was extinct is not extinct. A dog with a very curly tail. A bird. Incense, smoke. Looks like an Aquarius figure there. Destiny. This looks very... there's two elephants there. It's a very bright card. You have these skulls here. There's a... looks like an owl perched. There's a candle. Seven of Cups. Five of Cups. There's an island, a boat, person falling under the water. The Fool. There is no dog here. There is an orca. Oh, there's a dog. He's riding on the back of a seahorse, or a sawhorse, a rocking horse. There we go. There's another bird, person walking behind them. Some snowflakes, stars to snowflakes, the earth, and the swirl. He's holding something. I'm not sure what he's holding. He or she. Ace of Wands. Eight of Wands. The dog. And the Five of Swords. Someone finally got stabbed, and there is some sort of... it's not a... some sort of lizard, but it looks like some sort of made-up lizard. It's not quite a iguana, but it could be. So that is the deck. It's... I think it is good for daily reading, or just occasional. Maybe you're reading for someone, and you feel that they might really see something in this deck because it is so different and so fresh, and the cards, I should talk about how they feel. It's pretty typical of 90s, even 80s card stock with a coating on them. It's fairly stiff. They shuffle well. It's like a normal pack of playing cards. You notice the size of these are not, they're sort of that slightly oversized tarot size. I've only read the poem once, but the concept is that the mystic sees our head, or our unconscious, our subconscious, all that, and that the tarot helps you navigate through it. And so this poem sort of helps you think about that. It mentions the Kabbalah, archetypes, and I guess since you, or the querent is the navigator, trying to find out more, navigating life, navigating, what's under the hood, under their head. So it is a very good deck. It's you really won't hear about it too much. Some people really like it. Some people, I don't think they care for it. But there is all the meaning in there. Maybe it's more meaning to the cards than you're used to, or maybe it's different meaning than you're used to. But that's okay. Every deck is a little different, and it has its own vibe. And sometimes when you feel out which deck you want to use for a reading, sometimes they jump out at you. Sometimes you go to your tried and true. But it is what it is. So this is my second tarot review. I really thank you for watching. I thought I'd try to keep doing these. I have several decks I'm really interested in talking about. One thing that this is doing for me is it is helping me sort of connect better with all my decks. I have over 30 decks, and some people say you shouldn't collect decks, but I find the artwork fascinating, and sometimes I'm looking at reviews or looking online, and I see one that jumps out at me, and I really, really like. So there's a few that I'd really like to connect better with. I just got a Barbara Walker tarot, and that's exciting. But looking at the cards and feeling them, maybe I'm not as excited as I was before I got it. I have some nicer decks that I've bought, like the Tabula Mundi, the Rosetta, and there's a newer one that it's not in yet. But I have a lot of basic decks, and some of them are kits with books. Like I said, this one came with a book. I believe the book is out of print, or it's coming back into print, written by the artist. If you like the deck, I mean, you can always, if it's out of print, you know, eBay is a great place to look. ABE Books, which is now, I think it's part of Amazon, or Amazon is using it. It's a shop. I've been using ABE Books since the late 90s. It's a great forum for finding new and used items, especially if they're hard to find. So I would highly recommend that if you're going after it. Or I haven't really, I guess I could look on Amazon really quick. And it seems to be out of print. I can see new and used from $100. I guess, Julia Turk, yeah. And that's what the book looks like. Julia A. Turk, and that's the book, the beautiful cover of the book. And then there's that's the deck and set. But I just bought the deck itself. So it looks like, yeah, it's out of print. The book is 256 pages, and it looks like the initial publication was 2003. Oh, here it is. Maybe it's not out of print. There. Navigators Tarot, the Mystic Sea, 78 cards, $10. This is cheaper than most, and this is the deck I have. There we go. So, what's the publication date for this one? 1997. So this is the deck I have. Maybe this is a later printing. US Games is the one. So it's still out there, and it's very affordable, which is nice. They have 20 left in stock, so I don't think they're going to run out anytime soon. And you can see it tells me I purchased this in 2012 through Amazon. That's where I got it. I also have the Mary L. Tarot, which is very interesting. Do I have any of these others? None are popping up that really, but the Mary L is interesting. I really like that deck quite a bit. But anyway, I don't want to take up more of your time. I appreciate you watching, and I will be making some more videos, so thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.